Yo, I'm Tony. Come inside of me. Today's Monday. It's Ask Me Anything Monday. Today is the day I give advice, and I'm gonna start by giving some advice to my motherfucking self. I have been going through it hard for a couple of days, just raw dogging my existence, getting deep into my own psyche, my own grief, my own relationship to betrayal, being used, being undervalued, unappreciated. Why do I allow it to happen? Why does someone put a cord in me? This is not my first cord, okay? This is not my first rodeo. So recently discovered someone had a cord in my sacrum. Not surprised. I actually have had another person put a cord in my sacrum before, and that time it was a man. So there was this like ejaculate that came from his soul penis into my sacrum, which was like a breeding ground. The soul penis ejaculate then created a festering nest inside my sacrum that had to be removed. It was like a sack of tubes of all we are is actually just sacks and tubes. Like, we're just a tube. You open your mouth and then you put food in it and then it like comes out your butt. You're just a tube. That's what you are. But what was in my sacrum when I had this energetic cord in it, it was like a nest of demon semen. That's what it really did feel like. But I do believe that that man that put that cord in there, I think it was benign. I don't think he meant to cause harm. I just think he wanted to suck on my life force. But I don't think he meant to hurt me. This one is a little more complex. This was from a woman, a friend, a good friend, and I am not sure if harm was meant to be caused. The jury's out. My instinct right now is like, I think harm was meant to be caused. But I think that's because, you have these friends in life who just genuinely don't want the best for you. They just don't. They want to, but they don't. It's funny how there's so much we want to want, but don't actually want, Like, I think I do have people in my life who want to want the best for me, but they just don't. But I think them wanting to want to is like, okay, but this is the advice I have to give myself is I used to think I was strong enough to have these dynamics around me that weren't clean. Or I don't mean clean as in pure, like puritanical. I mean, what does clean mean? Nothing's clean. Everything has bacteria on it. Do you know how much bacteria is on your face or like dust mites or something? Bajillions. And they're part of who you are. You can't take away the bacteria of you because you actually are bacteria. That's like most of your personality is just you being a host for tiny microorganisms. So, what I mean by clean is more authentic. Yeah, authentic. That's a better word. God, I have to, what's really good about doing a podcast is it makes you have to really think about your unconscious language, your programming, right? Like, why would I say clean? That makes me feel so like white supremacy. Clean. What the fuck is that? That feels very puritanical, white supremacist of me. Ugh. But I actually really do need things to be clean within the house. Actually, not clean, put away. I have actually a high tolerance for like grime, but I like things to be put away. Not sticky grime, but I'll handle it. I'll walk past a dust bunny for 10 to 12 days before I'll be like, oh, I guess I should pick this up or someone should. Anyway, my advice to myself is I used to think it wasn't a big deal to surround myself with people who don't have my best intentions. I thought that like that would be okay. And I think what I'm beginning to realize more and more is that it actually takes a lot of energy, a lot of chi, a lot of life force to navigate and negotiate relationships that aren't authentic. And that life force, that chi, is wasted on that negotiation, that unconscious negotiation, like the masking one does. It's not even that I was always masking around this person or, people who I don't think have my best interests in their hearts. I'm not always masking, but I am always like deep down knowing something is up and then gaslighting myself to deny that it's happening. That's like another thing, is the self-gaslighting also takes a lot of energy. So I have had to like really face my own the watch affirmation that comes in on this podcast. The funny thing is I don't even know if y'all hear it. I hear it. I'm hearing the watch affirmation. And somehow maybe I could just turn off that dinging bell, but I'm sure I could figure it out. I just am refusing to. But long story long is that I think that I'm desperate. I think that I'm desperate. No, I think that I have been desperate. I have been desperate for a certain kind of connection that, I just want to merge with people. What's the big deal? I just want to become one with you. Like, I just want to build a home inside your heart. Like, oh, you don't want that? You don't want that responsibility? Like, okay, I guess. No, but I think that is what I'm looking for. But it's because it's what I want to offer. I'm like, oh, hey, do you want to like build a home inside of me so you can always feel unconditionally loved and accepted and cared for? Do you want to be friends for this lifetime and the next like 1,000? I think maybe I'm like a little intense. I think maybe my expectations are, but I just like to love like with a complete fullness. And I don't know, just not everybody's like that. Not everybody has that capacity. So I think what ends up happening is a lot of miscommunications where I think a relationship is one thing and it's not. It's just not. But it's posturing as that thing, or it has potential to be that thing. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just do this. I'll just be like infinitely loyal to this. And I end up getting hurt. And I don't know. The hard thing is, I think the reconciling of how do you reconcile the feeling of being emotionally abandoned? It's like there's two things. There's the mad sad, and I've been going on and on about how mad and sad are the same thing. I stand by that. But I also think it's like, oh, cool. So I could just like experience that level of grief. All right. And I think it's the grief that is it's so heavy. Grief is a heavy emotion, and then you have to process it. You have to process the grief. And I am tired of grief processing. I think that I'm sleepy, of course. And then you just think of Gaza and all the grief processing there. Endless processing of grief that will happen for generations. They're going to be so exhausted if they survive, which is so fucked up. I hate it. But think of like, if you ever feel grief about your own stupid little life, like imagine the grief that the military is putting out there in the world. I'm not calling your life stupid. I'm calling my life stupid, and I can do that because I have a stupid little life, so whatever. All right, so I guess my advice to myself is that it actually does. When someone puts a cord in you, so that's the other thing. I don't know if you go around having people put cords in you, or if that's just a me thing, but you can feel it. I'll tell you how you know someone has a cord in you. You feel tired around them. Like you feel like a little exhausted. And after they leave, you feel depleted. That's a good sign that you have a cord. Also, obsessive thoughts about that person, because imagine a tick. A tick that's feeding off of your lifeblood. So the more you think about them, the more they engorge with their tick energy. That's another way that you can tell that you've been courted. I was going to say something. What was it about? The engorged tick. What an image. Yucca, yucca, yucca. About the idea of being, what was I going to say about being courted? Oh, I think it's like, part of me is like, why am I, self-victimizing or whatever. But it's like, what is someone doing when they're courting you or when they're trying? I'm not saying courting, by the way. I'm saying courting. Like they're putting an energetic cord in you. Like imagine if you could just like insert an umbilical cord into you and then you suck through the umbilicus that person's will to live or whatever it is that you're trying to get from them. I don't know. Are you a courter or do you get courted? If you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, maybe you're going around unconsciously courting people. I don't know. It's something to think about. I don't think I court people. I gotta say, I really don't think I do. And if I have, namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. I am humbled. I apologize for my cord. Please return it to me. That is not your responsibility. Oh, you know what someone said to me off the internet the other day? I did a video where I wore like a shirt that was like a tighter shirt. So I was like, oh, I should probably wear a bra because nipples, and everyone's like, ugh, nipples. The amount of people that will comment on your nipples is demonic, you know? Like, can't you just like be a person that happens to have nipples and not have people comment on it? So if like I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear this tight shirt for the costume of the video, and I might as well wear a bra so no one like talks about my nipples. And then this guy DM'd me and he was like, where'd you buy your boobs? Something about, he said, ask me about where I bought my boobs. I was like, I didn't buy my boobs. These are just the boobs that have been around the whole time. I just don't bring them out to play because every time I do, people talk about my boobs. So that's some advice for you. If you want to see someone's boobs, don't talk about them. Don't reference them. Because the more you reference their boobs, the more they'll just lock them back up. They'll hide them under big baggy t-shirts and hoodies and plaids. Because they'll be like, ugh, people talking about my boobs. But to be fair, my boobs did look fun that day. So, I mean, would I have talked about my boobs? I don't know, maybe, but in a less creepy way. I also say, where'd you buy those boobs? Like, what the fuck? Rude. Does he want the name of my surgeon if I were to have one? Also, I don't think I present as someone who has a surgeon, like my own private surgeon. If I did, I think I would look like more sculpted. Well, I don't know. What are people doing with surgeons? What are they doing? We should do a whole beauty episode. Maybe we should do that on Wednesday. No, Friday? I don't know. Oh, I'm not going to be here. I'll be here Wednesday, not Friday, though. All right, back to my advice about me. This is a podcast where I'm giving myself advice. Should that just be my podcast? Like, fuck y'all. No, I actually love giving you advice. All right, enough about me. Let's go to a question. Okay. Okay. Oh. All right. They left me a voice memo and I haven't figured out how to do that. So let's just read what they wrote. And how do we move past the uncomfortable or cringe to open up a dynamic mutual respect conversation that's worth having to add onto my voice memo? How do we move past the uncomfortable or cringe to open up a dynamic mutual respect conversation that's worth having? Also, genuine digital dinosaur question. Am I supposed to put the @ thing when sharing other people's posts? Is there etiquette on this? I know nothing. Jon Snow. I've lived in a bubble of being an official butt wiper of tiny lords for 15 years. Oldest is 15 this year. And then she goes on to tell more of her kids. Bless my heart. Point is, all my gray matter has shrunk and my children ate my brain. And I'm kind of dim at all things digital now. So if I'm being dumb, ignorant, let me know. Dude, the problem is that this person left me a voice memo. And now we have to just intuit what her message was, which is bonker pants. But I'm going to do it. I'm just going to speak to her telepathically. And what I'm hearing is she's someone who really let herself, oh man, like, it's so interesting, like, being a parent. And, like, this is someone who really dug deep into their parenting because she's saying, like, the way she referenced them as tiny lords, which is funny. Like, this is a very funny person who has dug deeply into being a parent. And not just, like, a parent, Like, it's apparent to me, no, like a mom. And so I think whatever is going on with this person is she has to reintegrate into her own humor and creative self. I don't know. That's so funny. I genuinely don't know what's going on with her. And I'm sure she did such a great job being a parent because I can just like feel that. I think she loved it and I think she enjoyed it. And I think she found like, a genuine connection to the humans that she created. She referenced four, which is a lot of humans. But if you're going to be creating all of those people, I'm going to tell you, you're a very creative person. You are creative. You created four humans. That's some creative work. So I think my message to you is it's really important that after you're done creating these humans, that you continue the application of creativity within the self. And I think that when we have a relationship to creativity that isn't honored, and not to say parenting isn't creative, it is creative. Like you can make very creative, choices within your parenting and how you care for your children. However, there is a creativity that exists beyond service. I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't agree with that, but I kind of do. I mean, my creativity, I do like to think of it as an act of service, but I also am getting something from it. So whether or not this person finds their creative practice in service, to make sure there is a symbiosis within that service, to make sure that the creativity is being honored and seen and acknowledged and celebrated. Oh, I saw a crow. I think that we don't celebrate ourselves enough, and I think that when we don't celebrate ourselves, then others won't celebrate us. So it's really important to give ourselves moments of divine celebration of whatever it is that we're proud of. I don't think I celebrate myself enough as a parent, to be honest, because I do think I did a really good job momming it out. I think I continue to. And I don't always celebrate that because, to be honest, I don't value that. I'm so sorry to say that out loud because I'm a workaholic. So it's like I'm always kind of like thinking about work. I'm not thinking about like, oh, wow, what a great job. Your kid gets all A's and she's really dedicated to her crafts and she's a good friend and all these things of which I could like, well, whatever. I'm not going to take credit for her accomplishments either because that feels rude AF. But I think I gave her the space of which to excel, maybe. I mean, there's all sorts of things we could unpack about what we have or have not done for our children. Maybe she would have been fine either way. But I do think I was a good parent and I don't always celebrate that. But the more I celebrate it, the more I force her to also and equally celebrate me. So I have no idea what's going on with that person because I couldn't listen to their voice memo, but I do want her to celebrate herself more and to recognize that beyond the creation of the humans, that she's a very creative person. We're all very creative people. That should be very clear to you. You are creative. You're incredibly creative. We are all creative. The question is, how do we express it? And it doesn't always have to be commodified. I want to make that very clear. It's not about commodification. It's about acknowledging the creative spirit within you and how it wants to be expressed. And then honoring it and celebrating it. And if people are like, it's not a big deal. Like, it is a big deal. Oh, I met this girl the other day and I was asking her what her creative practice was because I could tell she was very creative. And she was like, oh, crocheting. And I was like, crocheting? What? And she was like 20. And I was like, all right, crocheting. I thought you were going to say something interesting. And then this bitch fucking showed me her crocheting and oh my God, it was so exciting. It was actually like the best crocheting I'd ever seen. And then I was like, oh, no wonder why I wondered what her creative practice was. So I don't even know why I was like being such a cunt about crocheting. Like crocheting is actually amazing and she's so good at it. So do you see like what I'm like, her crocheting is her like calling. And I was just being like a dumb bitch, minimizing crocheting momentarily. Okay, I got with the program real quick. So that's my advice to the woman who I never heard her voice memo. Okay, please advise on expanding friend circle and deciding who to give my energy to. Well, that is ironic because this is also something that I'm contemplating and thinking about. How to expand your friend circle. Question one, be very clear about your motives. You don't want to just expand your friend circle just for like you think you should. You want to expand your friend circle because you have something to give others. Not because you just want to receive, or not because you're feeling desperate, or not because you want to fill a hole, of sadness or grief or whatever. I think that's been my problem, is like having a when my best friend died, I had a hole of her in me. I should really get into that relationship, because there's been a lot of quantum conversations I've been having with her in the telepathic realm. But maybe we'll do that another day. But my point is that if you are expanding your friend circle because you are wanting something, you are needing something. Need is not a good energy, because then you're going to be desperate, and then you're just going to call in people who give you attention because you think you need attention, or you think you need this. I would get very clear on what your motivation is. If your motivation is, I have a lot to give and I want to share this giving energy with those who also want to give, then you're going to attract givers, because there are kind of two people in this world. There are givers and there are takers. I remember what I was going to say about my advice earlier, is that when you're a giver, you need to surround yourself with givers. And you can't get mad at takers for being takers, because that's just their programming. And I think that that's something that I'm going to give myself advice about, is I always get so like butt hurt when I befriend a taker and then they take from me. And it's like, well, it's like befriending a cobra and then being like, oh, you bit me and now I have venom. It's like, yeah, you befriended a cobra. Like, cobras are gonna bite you and then put venom in you. Like, that's what they do. Takers take. That's what they do. So I think for this person to expand your circle of friends, get clear on your motives. Know why you want more friends. And then you will attract what you're meant to attract. And I think going back to my personal advice earlier, you just genuinely don't want to attract things that like aren't going to serve you, because it's going to take away your energy. It is going to take away your energy. Okay, whoa, this one's kind of long, and this will be the last one. Okay, well, hello there. Oh, why are we beckoning hell? I love that you said that on the podcast. Podcast is kind of funny. Why are we beckoning hell? Great question. All right, I asked that question. Here's my question. This is this person's question. I must have some sort of existential OCD, because when I've got moments of peace, dare I say, when things are cruising and going well, my initial knee-jerk thought is, well, fuck, now everyone is automated and mindless and stuck, and I'm on the outskirts watching them go through the motions instead of thinking creatively or actively manifesting. It's a problem. It causes me to want to sabotage things in order to mess with the flow and feel alive. Wow. I do love chaos. I do also love success and progress. I am also too self-aware to create drama for the sake of drama. Damn, that could be medicine if I let it, but probably good that I don't. I love people. Humans are deeply fascinating to me, and I've spent my life obsessed with humans through my work, my art, and my pastimes. However, when I get into these headspaces, I find myself disillusioned and fighting the belief that I'm stuck in a hamster wheel, just perpetuating the inevitable. Even though I've built my own business and created my own reality time and time again, so I know it's possible. Not like I work at the DMV or something. And then there's that like face where the eyes are uneven and there's like a tongue out. My partner is a very content person. I am not. I'm constantly restless, even though on the outside, I've kind of perfected an image of peace and contentedness. I need constant mental and physical activity. Help. Help. Sick dick. I love this. I really appreciated this person's self-reflection and the details that they decided to share with me, because I think the details that you share are where the answers are. My partner is a very content person. That stood out to me, because she also said, I'm constantly restless, even though on the outside I'm kind of perfected an image of peace and contentedness. So is your partner actually a content person, or has he too presented? Has he perfected the presentation of contentedness, And you don't know unless he knows. What does he know, that you're discontent? I think that's an interesting mirror that's happening, is I think you're assuming everyone is who they're presenting to be, but you are not who you're presenting to be. And I would argue that people are not often who they are presenting to be. It is more common for people to present a projection of who they, remember how I was talking about the beginning, who they want to be, right? Like it's almost like too removed. I want to do this. I want to be a writer. I want to be a poet. I want to, but like, do you actually want it, or do you just want it? Because if you're just wanting to want things, you're never going to get it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that step number one is just to recognize that I think what you're feeling is very common. I very much related to it. I'm like, yes, this is relatable content. But it's like, it's interesting how she talks about chaos and feeling alive, And I think what she's actually referencing is things getting too mundane, things feeling too static, things feeling stagnant. And so, how do you find peace in repetition? I remember when I was like a new mom, and then you have to have all this repetition, right? So much repetition of, because babies, they thrive in being able to anticipate their day. So the more repetition and order, quote unquote, whatever you can provide for them, there is like a level of safety that they feel, because they can start to anticipate a rhythm of the day. And then they feel like a little less chaotic. But, I'm sure there are, but even if you were like a traveler or something, you can still maintain consistency. Like I have a daily practice that is the same. Actually, now I'm changing my daily practice, but I show up for my daily practice every day. And now I make it different every morning, which is interesting because it had been the exact same for a very long time. For years, for over 5 years, it was the exact same practice. And now the practice is different every morning, but I practice every morning. So I think for this person, it's the beauty of routine and variety. It's a little bit more choreography, so there's something I think really grounding and important about routine. However, if it becomes too, like unwavering, it can eventually feel oppressive, which I've done this to myself. I'm a very routine oriented person, little neurodivergo. So I'm going to like find the metronome of routine, and it's my kind of medicine to play within the fences of my routine, right? But I do like a routine. Otherwise, I feel unfocused and untethered. So I think what this person is really needing is the balance between routine and variety, and understanding that, the double helix DNA, as you kind of bounce back and forth between the two, is the spice of life, right? Like I love that one of my favorite quotes is everything in moderation, including moderation. And obviously, if you're a heroin addict, you're gonna have a hard time like casually doing heroin because of like brain receptors, okay? But in a perfect world, you never get to the point of addiction where you can't like casually do heroin. I'm not advocating heroin, y'all, but you know what I mean. Is like, I'm a very extreme person, and sometimes I'm like, wow, girl, you gotta mellow out, like you can maybe be less extreme, and you can play within the waters of like have one drink rather than 8 or something. I don't know. We should talk about alcohol one day. I don't drink anymore. Haven't drank in a long time. But was I an alcoholic? Well, I'll go through that journey with you one day, and you can tell me. I don't know. But I don't drink anymore. But I could have a drink if I wanted to. The problem is, the reason why I don't drink, honestly, at this point, is I'm just too fun. I'm too much of a good time, and no one can keep up with that level of fun as an adult. I would have to drink with like a 22-year-old, like if some 22-year-olds wanted to like get drunk with me, like I think that would be fun. But like a regular grown up, they would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to value my sleep. The point is I think that the search for contentment, I actually made a short film called Searching for Content, which also looked for like searching for content, right? I think that that is a lifelong journey. I think you just have to just like be patient that like, oh, searching for contentment is like, what do you think those Buddhist monks are doing in a fucking cave for 40 years? They're searching for contentment. That's why they're taking themselves out of all stimulus in order to try to find contentment within the self and meditation. Like, that is a holy practice. That is not something that's easy to do. So if you're just going to be like living your regular life and you're struggling with how to feel content, yeah. The medicine is always gratitude and letting yourself like, it's like, what is the safe ways to while out that isn't going to blow up your life, you know? Because there are ways to while out that isn't going to have like massive impact on yourself and others and the well-being of yourself and others. So that's maybe something to also ask oneself is like, where can you take your risks that aren't causing harm to yourself and others? Because maybe at one point it was a little more interesting to have the harm also be a part of the shaking shit up. It's like, you like your life shaken, not stirred. You know, you're the James Bond of life. And I don't know. I think you're just a searcher. You're a searcher and a seeker. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't judge yourself for it. And I don't think I think you and your partner could kind of maybe talk about this, like shared. Maybe it's not shared because some people really are just like, I'm good. I don't get those people. I've never been that person. I'm definitely not content, girl. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. My lack of contentment is what drives me to move forward. Like, I am never satisfied with anything that I ever make or do in my career. It's never enough. Oh, 2 million people saw this video. Why not 3? Oh, 3 million people saw it now. Well, why not 5? I'm never like, cool, that was enough. Great. And that is why we live in a capitalist hellscape, because of this exact lack of contentment. So maybe it is something that's actually really important that we address, because it is why we are manipulated through the fucking monster of the capitalist system. So I'm going to, say that it's both very normal and it like desperately needs to be addressed, but also like, we're not Buddhist monks, but we should try to be. And like, I don't know. I think it's okay, but also really work on it, but also gratitude. I mean, I think that's actually sick advice. I'm going to give it back to myself too, because I'm going through the same thing. And also constant mental and physical activity. Hell yeah. I move a lot. And that is also important. So you should be moving your body every day. Don't fuck around with that, because then you're going to have too much excess energy. You should move your body every day, and not just like I'm just going to move my body. Like, you need to sweat. Bitch, you need to fucking sweat. You need to sweat. It needs to burn. You need to you need to stretch. You need to sweat. You need to have your lungs go dung, dung, dung. You have to have your heart pump. Your heart needs to pump every motherfucking day. Maybe you can take 2 days off a week, but you know what I mean though? Oh, yeah, I agree with me. I'm going to stop podcasting now. I have a work call, and this is probably long enough. All right, I love you. Please send me your questions. Please support my Patreon. I'm going to start offering lots of really fun things on my Patreon. I actually have really cool tiers, and I'm gonna really get on it. So support my Patreon /Tony Naj. Share this podcast. Don't be a fucking dick. Review it, share it. Do whatever. Why? I hate that you make me ask this. It's like the humiliation I feel. And I tell you this. So can you just do this for me? It would mean a lot. Okay. I love you very much. Have a really good day.